Hello everyone, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going on an exciting hunt for the top 5 most valuable United Kingdom 20 pence coins. Some British 20p coins can be found in ordinary circulated conditions, while others are much harder to find because of low mintages, special varieties, proof issues, or unusual designs. But remember, a coin being old does not automatically make it valuable. The biggest prices usually come from genuine rarity, excellent condition, unusual varieties, and strong collector demand. In this video, we will look at 5 fascinating 20p issues and discuss their potential values in US dollars, including the famous 1992 large head and small head varieties and other low mintage examples. Let's get started. First up, the 1985 United Kingdom 20 pence coin, especially a worn or circulated example. This coin is interesting because it belongs to the early years of Britain's decimal 20p denomination and carries the third portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. But here's the important part: the standard 1985 20p is not normally a rare, thousands of dollar coin. More than 74 million regular 1985 pieces were issued, so an ordinary worn example is generally worth only a modest amount. However, special versions, exceptional condition, and genuine mint errors can create much greater collector interest. The United Kingdom introduced the 20 pence coin on June 9, 1982, as part of the country's decimal coinage system. The Royal Mint explains that the 7-sided shape was chosen to make the coin easier to identify and to help distinguish it from other denominations. By 1985, the coin had moved to the third portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Makalauff. The reverse continued to feature the crown Tudor rose design created by William Gardner. The standard coin measures approximately 21.4 mm, weighs 5 grams, and is made from cupro nickel containing 84% copper and 16% nickel. One of the most recognizable features of the 1985 British 20p is its distinctive 7-sided, curved heptagonal shape. On the obverse is the third portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right and wearing a coronet. The inscriptions identify the monarch and denomination, while the reverse features the elegant crown Tudor rose surrounded by the denomination and date. The edge is plain rather than reeded. These features make the 1985 issue easy for collectors to identify, even when the coin has experienced years of circulation. A worn example may have scratches, darkening, and reduced detail, but the basic 7-sided shape, date, portrait, and Tudor rose should still be visible. And now let's discuss rarity. The regular 1985 20p had a circulation mintage of approximately 74,273,699, which means the standard circulated coin is not considered extremely rare. Numista's indicative values currently place ordinary 1985 examples around 25 cents in good and very good condition, about 27 cents in fine, 29 cents in very fine, and around 50 cents in extremely fine condition. An uncirculated example is listed around $2.10. These figures are indications rather than guaranteed selling prices, but they show that an ordinary worn 1985 20p should not automatically be considered a high-value rarity. The story becomes more interesting when we look beyond ordinary circulation pieces. The 1985 issue also had relatively small numbers of brilliant uncirculated and proof examples, with Numista listing approximately 178,375 BU pieces and 102,015 proof pieces. Those special collector issues are considerably scarcer than the normal circulation coin and can attract stronger interest. For a worn coin, however, the major opportunity would usually involve discovering an authenticated mint error or unusual variety rather than simply owning a normal 1985 date.so. What could your worn 1985 United Kingdom 20p be worth in today's market? For a normal circulated example, the realistic answer is usually somewhere around its face value equivalent or a small collector premium. Current Numista estimates put circulated examples in roughly the 25 cents to 50 cents range, depending on condition, while an uncirculated regular example is indicated around $2.10. These are guide values, not promises of what an individual coin will sell for $81 million at auction. That means a worn 1985 20p should not be promoted as a coin automatically worth $12 million. However, collectors should still pay attention to unusual examples. A major mint error, an unusual die variety, or an exceptionally preserved specimen can be much more interesting than a normal circulated piece. Auction prices can also vary according to certification, provenance, buyer interest, and the quality of the particular coin. The biggest mistake is assuming that every old coin with a famous monarch on it must be rare. The real value comes from scarcity, condition, authenticity, and collector demand. If you find a 1985 20p in worn condition, begin by checking the date, portrait, 7-sided shape, and reverse design. Look carefully at the lettering and the Tudor rose for anything that appears genuinely different from a normal example. Pay attention to unusual shapes, missing details, dramatic off-center strikes, or other characteristics that appear to have been created during the minting process. At the same time, remember that scratches, dents, discoloration, corrosion, and other damage that occurred after the coin left the mint usually do not make it valuable. Never polish or aggressively clean a potentially collectible coin. Cleaning can create scratches and unnatural surfaces and may actually reduce its desirability. If your 1985 20p appears to have a significant mint error or is in unusually high condition, compare it with reliable references and consider professional authentication. Most importantly, use real market evidence rather than sensational claims. A normal worn 1985 20p is common, but a genuinely unusual example deserves a closer look. The 1985 United Kingdom 20 pence coin is a fascinating piece of British decimal history. It features Queen Elizabeth II third portrait, the crown Tudor rose, and the distinctive 7-sided design that made the 20p easy to recognize. With more than 74 million regular pieces issued, an ordinary worn example is not a major rarity, and current guide values are generally modest. But that doesn't mean you should ignore every 1985 20p you find. The world of coin collecting is built around details, and a genuine mint error, unusual variety, or exceptional specimen can completely change the story. So if you have one of these old British coins, don't clean it and don't throw it away. Examine it carefully, protect it, and compare it with trusted references. Your worn 1985 20p may not automatically be worth a fortune, but finding something genuinely unusual is exactly what makes coin collecting so exciting. Next up, the 1983 United Kingdom 20 pence coin that looks dirty, worn, or forgotten and wondered whether it could be worth far more than its original 20 pence face value? In today's video, we're taking a close look at this British coin, its history, design, rarity, collector demand, and potential value in today's market. The 1983 20 pence is certainly an interesting collectible, but there is an important fact to understand from the beginning. The standard 1983 issue was produced in a large quantity, so an ordinary dirty circulated example is generally not a thousands of dollars rarity. However, special proof pieces, unusually high-grade examples, or genuine mint errors can attract much stronger collector interest. Current catalog data records approximately 158,463,000 standard 1983 20 pence coins, making the normal issue fairly common. The British 20 pence coin was introduced in 1982 as part of the United Kingdom's decimal coinage system. The 1983 issue continued during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, featuring her second portrait on the obverse. The standard 1983 20 pence was struck in copper nickel and became part of everyday British commerce. Unlike some modern British coins that became famous because of extremely low mintages, the standard 1983 20 pence had a substantial production run. Numista records 158,463,000 examples for the regular issue, while other catalog sources give a total figure of around 159.2 million when related issues are considered. This large production number is one reason an ordinary circulated 1983 20 pence should not automatically be considered rare. The 1983 20 pence has several features that make it instantly recognizable to British coin collectors. The obverse carries Queen Elizabeth II portrait, while the reverse features the crown Tudor rose design associated with the 20 pence denomination. The coin is made from copper nickel, weighs approximately 5 grams, measures about 21.4 millimeters across, and has a smooth edge. These specifications help collectors distinguish an authentic standard example from unusual pieces. The date 1983 is one of the first things to check, followed by the condition of the portrait, lettering, reverse design, edge, and overall surfaces. If your 1983 coin is dirty, don't assume that the dirt itself makes it rare. Dirt, discoloration, scratches, and normal circulation wear are usually evidence of the coin's history rather than evidence of a valuable mint error. What collectors really want to find are characteristics that occurred during production, such as a genuine striking error, unusual planchet problem, or another recognized variety. A coin that simply looks strange because it has been damaged after leaving the Royal Mint is normally much less desirable than a confirmed mint-made error. The biggest question is whether the 1983 20 pence is actually rare. The regular circulation issue is not particularly rare because more than 158 million were produced. Current Numista estimates for ordinary examples range from roughly 25 cents in lower grades to around $2 in uncirculated condition, although these figures are only indications based partly on user evaluations and online sales. This means that a normal dirty circulated coin is unlikely to be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars simply because it is dated 1983. However, collectors become much more interested when a coin has something exceptional about it. The 1983 issue also exists in much smaller special production quantities. Numista records approximately 637,100 BU examples and 107,800 proof examples, which are much smaller populations than the regular circulation issue. Proof coins were specially manufactured for collectors rather than ordinary circulation, and their prices can therefore be considerably higher. PCGS records an auction result of $40.65 for a certified 1983 proof 20p graded PR68 DCAM, demonstrating how a specially produced high-grade example can move far beyond the value of an ordinary circulated coin. So, what could your dirty 1983 20 pence actually be worth? For an ordinary circulated example, the realistic answer is generally close to its face value, and current catalog estimates do not support claims that every circulated 1983 20 pence is worth $54 million. One current guide lists the standard 1983 coin at approximately 25 cents to 64 cents across several circulated grades, with an indicated value around $2 for an uncirculated example. Another guide lists certified uncirculated examples around 65 cents to $1.35, while a proof example is listed around $8.10 in its guide. These figures show how strongly condition and finish can influence the market. The higher auction prices should therefore be treated as exceptional rather than normal. A certified proof 1983 20 pence reaching about $40.65 demonstrates the potential of a high-quality special issue, but it should not be used to value an ordinary dirty circulated coin. There are also online sales of unusual-looking 1983 20 pence coins at prices such as $54 million, but asking prices in individual online sales are not the same as established auction values. The safest approach is to compare your coin with documented sales of the exact same variety, condition, and certification level. If you have a dirty 1983 20 pence, the first thing you should do is avoid cleaning it aggressively. Never polish the surface with household chemicals, abrasive materials, or metal cleaners just to make it look shiny. Cleaning can leave permanent scratches and unnatural surfaces, which may actually reduce collector interest. Instead, inspect the coin carefully under good lighting. Check the date, portrait, reverse design, edge, weight, and diameter. If something appears unusual, compare it with reliable photographs and specialist references before deciding that you have discovered an error. Pay special attention to coins that appear unusually sharp, well-preserved, or different from normal examples. If you suspect a genuine mint error or believe your coin is a proof or exceptionally high-grade piece, professional authentication and grading can provide much stronger evidence of its identity and value. Remember that the difference between a normal damaged coin and a genuine mint error can be extremely important. Most importantly, don't let sensational claims convince you that every 1983 20 pence is a fortune. The real value comes from rarity, condition, variety, authenticity, and actual collector demand. The 1983 United Kingdom 20 pence coin is a fascinating piece of British decimal history. Its Queen Elizabeth II portrait, Tudor rose reverse, copper nickel composition, and connection to the early years of Britain's decimal coinage make it an enjoyable coin to collect. But while the standard issue had a large mintage of more than 158 million pieces and is therefore not normally a major rarity, special proof examples, exceptional condition coins, and genuine mint errors can be much more interesting to collectors. So, if you discover a dirty 1983 20 pence in an old collection, don't throw it away and don't clean it. Take a closer look. Check its date, design, condition, weight, and unusual characteristics, and compare it with reliable auction and price records. Your ordinary circulated coin may only be worth a modest amount, but if it turns out to be a special proof, an exceptional high-grade specimen, or a genuine mint error, its collector value could be significantly higher. In coin collecting, the most important lesson is simple: Don't judge an old coin only by its appearance. Identify exactly what you have before deciding what it is worth. Next up, the 1998 20p coin, an interesting part of modern British coinage that can attract collectors because of its design, history, condition, and unusual varieties. While an ordinary 1998 20p is generally a common circulating coin, exceptional condition, recognized errors, or scarce varieties can make certain examples much more interesting to collectors. In today's video, we'll explore its history, unique features, rarity, collector demand, potential auction value in US dollars, and the important details you should check before deciding what your coin might be worth. The United Kingdom 20p coin was introduced in 1982 as part of Britain's decimal coinage system. The coin was designed by Christopher Ironside, whose reverse design features a crown Tudor rose, surrounded by the denomination and date. The obverse carries the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, making the coin an important representation of British monetary history during her reign. The 1998 issue belongs to the later years of the original 20p design and was produced for everyday circulation. Because millions of 20p coins were made, the normal 1998 issue is not considered a major rarity simply because of its date. However, collectors continue to search these coins for exceptional examples, unusual varieties, and genuine mint errors. The 1998 20p coin has several characteristics that make it easy to identify. It has the distinctive seven-sided shape associated with the denomination, although its edges are smoothly rounded between the seven sides. The reverse features the crown Tudor rose, while the obverse displays Queen Elizabeth II. The coin was struck in cupro nickel, a durable metal composition designed for everyday circulation. Its seven-sided shape is especially useful because it allows people to identify the denomination by touch, an important feature of British decimal coinage. For collectors, condition is one of the most important factors. A very fine example can retain considerably more detail than a heavily circulated coin, with clearer lettering, stronger design elements, and fewer signs of wear. The original appearance of the surfaces can also influence desirability. Collectors should remember that a coin being described as very fine does not automatically make it rare. Instead, rarity usually comes from low survival in a particular grade, a recognized variety, or an authentic mint error. The normal 1998 20p is not one of the great rarities of British decimal coinage, but that does not mean it has no collector interest. Collectors assembling complete datesets often want attractive examples from every year, and coins in very fine or better condition can be more desirable than heavily worn pieces. The biggest opportunities generally come from unusual examples rather than ordinary coins. This is why collectors carefully inspect 20p pieces for genuine minting abnormalities. A major off-center strike, a significant die error, or another authenticated mint-made variety can potentially make a coin considerably more interesting than a normal example. However, scratches, dents, stains, corrosion, and damage caused after the coin left the Royal Mint are not normally valuable mint errors. The difference is extremely important when evaluating a coin for the auction market. So, what could a 1998 United Kingdom 20p be worth in US dollars? For an ordinary circulated 1998 coin, the value is generally modest and usually close to its converted face value, although collectible examples can sell for more depending on condition and demand. A very fine example may attract a collector premium, but it should not automatically be considered a coin worth $76 million. The possibility of a much higher value comes mainly from exceptional condition, unusual varieties, or authenticated mint errors. When rare British decimal coins appear at auction, collectors may compete strongly for examples with documented rarity and outstanding preservation. This means an ordinary 1998 20p should not be confused with famous British error coins that have achieved much higher prices. If you see an online listing claiming that every 1998 20p is $84 million, approach the claim carefully and look for actual auction evidence. For a coin in very fine condition, the most important things to establish are its authenticity, exact variety, grade, and whether it contains a recognized mint error. Once those characteristics are confirmed, comparable auction results can provide a much better indication of its value in dollars. Currency exchange rates also change over time, so a British auction price should be converted to US dollars using the exchange rate applicable when comparing values. If you have a 1998 20p coin in very fine condition, protect it from further wear and avoid polishing or aggressively cleaning the surface. Cleaning can create scratches and unnatural surfaces, potentially reducing its appeal to collectors. Instead, handle the coin carefully by its edges and examine both sides under good lighting. Pay attention to the date, the Queen's portrait, the Tudor rose, the lettering, the seven-sided shape, and the edge. Look for unusual features that appear to have occurred during the striking process rather than damage caused later. If you discover something that looks like a major mint error, compare it with reliable numismatic references or have it examined by a professional. Certification can be particularly useful when a coin appears to have significant value. The 1998 United Kingdom 20p coin is a fascinating piece of modern British coinage. Its seven-sided shape, Tudor rose reverse, Queen Elizabeth II portrait, and connection to Britain's decimal currency system make it a popular collectible. An ordinary 1998 example is generally not a major rarity, but a very fine specimen can be more desirable to collectors, and a genuine mint error or scarce variety could potentially make an individual coin much more valuable. So, if you have a 1998 20p in very fine condition, don't dismiss it simply because it is a modern coin. Examine it carefully, protect its original surfaces, and research any unusual characteristics before deciding its value. Remember, the biggest prices in the coin market are normally reserved for pieces with proven rarity, exceptional condition, or authenticated errors. Your 1998 20p may not automatically be a fortune, but it could still be an interesting and worthwhile addition to a British coin collection, and every collector knows that sometimes the most exciting discoveries begin with an ordinary-looking coin. Next up, 1999 United Kingdom 20p coin in excellent condition, and wondered whether the small British coin could be worth far more than its face value? In today's video, we're taking a closer look at the 1999 British 20p, a coin that can be especially interesting to collectors because of its design, history, condition, and potential varieties. The standard 1999 20p is not automatically a rare fortune, because millions were produced for everyday circulation. However, exceptional condition, unusual varieties, or genuine mint errors can make particular examples much more desirable. So if you have a bright, sharply detailed 1999 20p, don't dismiss it too quickly. Let's explore what makes this coin interesting and what collectors may look for. The United Kingdom 20p coin was introduced in 1982 as part of Britain's decimal coinage system. The denomination was designed to fill an important place between the 10p and 50p coins. The 1999 issue was produced during the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, and its obverse carried her portrait by Raphael Maklov, while the reverse featured the crown Tudor rose design created by William. The coin was made from cupro nickel and had the distinctive seven-sided shape associated with the British 20p denomination. In 1999, the Royal Mint produced a very large number of 20p coins for circulation, meaning the ordinary 1999 issue is generally considered a common date rather than a major rarity. One of the most recognizable features of the 1999 20p is its seven-sided shape with rounded edges. The reverse shows the elegant Tudor rose surrounded by the denomination and date, while the obverse features Queen Elizabeth II. The coin's cupro nickel composition gives it a bright silver-colored appearance when well preserved. An excellent condition example can display sharp lettering, strong details, and attractive original surfaces, making it much more appealing than a heavily worn circulated coin. Collectors also pay close attention to the edge, shape, lettering, date, and overall strike when examining British decimal coins. Because the 1999 issue is normally common, unusual characteristics are particularly important when determining whether a specific example deserves further investigation. The biggest question is whether the 1999 20p is rare. The normal 1999 issue is not considered extremely rare simply because of its date. Millions were made, and many survived. However, conditions can make a substantial difference in the collector market. A coin that remains bright, sharply struck, and nearly free from marks can be more desirable than an ordinary circulated example. Collectors building complete Queen Elizabeth II decimal collections often want attractive examples representing different years, and high-grade coins can command premiums when they are difficult to find in truly exceptional condition. Another area that attracts attention is mint errors and unusual varieties. A genuine striking error can transform an ordinary-looking coin into a much more interesting collectible. However, scratches, dents, discoloration, corrosion, and damage that occurred after the coin left the Royal Mint should not be confused with valuable mint errors. For that reason, collectors should carefully compare unusual coins with trusted references and, when necessary, seek professional authentication. So, what could a 1999 United Kingdom 20 pence be worth in US dollars? For an ordinary circulated example, the value is generally modest because of the large production numbers. An excellent condition coin may command a premium depending on its grade, eye appeal, and demand, but it should not automatically be described as a sell for $42 million rarity. The biggest prices in the market are normally associated with genuinely scarce varieties, significant mint errors, or exceptional certified examples rather than ordinary coins. This is an important point for collectors watching online videos and auction listings. You may see dramatic asking prices for certain British 20 pence coins, but an asking price is not the same as a confirmed sale. Real auction results provide a much better indication of market value. If a 1999 20 pence has a suspected error or extraordinary condition, check completed auction records and compare the exact variety and grade. A normal 1999 coin and a certified rare error can have completely different values, even though both carry the same date. If you have a 1999 20 pence in excellent condition, protect it from unnecessary handling. Hold it by the edges and avoid polishing or cleaning it, because cleaning can leave scratches and reduce its original collector appeal. Use good lighting and a magnifying glass to inspect the date, lettering, Tudor rose, portrait, edge, and overall strike. Look for unusual features that appear to have been created during the minting process rather than damage that happened later. If your coin looks exceptionally sharp or appears to have a genuine mint error, compare it with reliable British coin references and documented auction results. Professional grading or authentication may be worthwhile if the suspected variety appears significant. Most importantly, remember that a 1999 date by itself does not make the coin extremely rare. The real value comes from the combination of rarity, condition, authenticity, and collector demand. The 1999 United Kingdom 20 pence coin is a fascinating piece of British decimal history. Its seven-sided shape, Tudor rose reverse, Queen Elizabeth II portrait, and 1999 date make it an attractive addition to a British coin collection. While the standard 1999 20 pence is not automatically worth hundreds or thousands of dollars, an excellent condition specimen can be more desirable, and a genuine rare variety or major mint error can potentially command a much stronger price. So before spending or selling your 1999 20 pence, take a moment to inspect it carefully. Keep it clean from harsh chemicals, protect its original surfaces, research real auction results, and look closely for unusual mint-made characteristics. You may not have a fortune in your hand, but you could have an interesting collectible with a story, and in the world of coin collecting, sometimes the smallest details make the biggest difference. Next up, 2000 United Kingdom 20 pence coin that looks old, ugly, dark, scratched, or heavily circulated and wondered whether it could be worth much more than its face value? In today's video, we're taking a close look at the 2000 British 20p and separating genuine collector value from exaggerated internet claims. The 2020p is an interesting coin, but the ordinary circulated example is not normally a rare fortune coin. Around 136 million 2000 dated 20p coins were produced for circulation according to published mintage figures, so a worn example is generally common. However, condition, varieties, unusual errors, and exceptional collector grade examples can change the picture, which is why every old coin deserves a careful inspection before you spend it. The British 20 pence coin was introduced on June 9, 1982 as part of the United Kingdom's decimal coinage system. The denomination was created partly to reduce the weight and number of coins needed in everyday transactions. The 20p was designed with a distinctive seven-sided curved shape, making it easy to identify and suitable for vending machines. The Royal Mint states that the standard 20p measures approximately 21.4 mm across, weighs 5 grams, and is made from cupro nickel containing 84% copper and 16% nickel. The 2000 issue carries the fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, designed by Ian Rank Broadley, while the reverse features the crown Tudor rose design by William Gardner. The date 2000 appears on the reverse, separated by the Tudor rose design, with the denomination 20 pence also displayed. The coin was struck at the Royal Mint and became part of the ordinary circulating currency of the United Kingdom. One of the most recognizable characteristics of the 2000 British 20p is its seven-sided curved shape. Unlike a traditional round coin, its constant width heptagonal design gives it a distinctive appearance and makes it easy to identify by touch. The edge is plain, while the obverse carries Queen Elizabeth II portrait and inscriptions associated with the monarch. The reverse displays the crown Tudor rose, the denomination, and the year 2000. These details make the coin an attractive part of Britain's modern decimal coinage history. If your 2020p is in ugly or heavily circulated condition, you may see scratches, dark discoloration, contact marks, stains, and general surface wear. Those characteristics normally reduce collector appeal rather than increase rarity. An important point for new collectors is that an ugly appearance does not automatically mean the coin is a rare mint error. Genuine mint errors are created during the manufacturing process, while most scratches and damage happen after the coin enters circulation. The biggest question is whether the 2020p is rare. The standard answer is that an ordinary 2020p is not considered a major rarity. Published figures put the circulation mintage at roughly 136.4 million pieces, meaning large numbers were made and many survived. Because of this, a normal dirty or heavily circulated example usually does not command a dramatic premium. But collectors still have reasons to examine these coins carefully. The 20p series includes varieties and errors that can be much more interesting than ordinary examples. The famous British 20p error is the 2008 undated mule, created when an older obverse was accidentally paired with a newer reverse. That error is not a 2000 coin, but it is important because it demonstrates why collectors should examine both sides of any unusual 20p rather than assuming that the year alone determines value. A normal dated 2000 coin should not be confused with the famous undated 2008 mule. For the 2000 issue, collector demand is primarily connected with condition, presentation, and any genuinely recognized variety or error. An exceptionally preserved coin can be more desirable than an ugly circulated example, while a verified mint error can potentially attract much stronger interest. This is the key difference between an ordinary coin and a true numismatic discovery. So, how much could a 2000 United Kingdom 20p be worth in dollars? For an ordinary circulated example, the realistic answer is generally around its 20 pence face value, with only a modest premium possible depending on condition and buyer interest. Current collecting references indicate that circulated British decimal coins are usually worth face value, while higher grade examples can command more. One published guide lists the 2000 issue at around £2 for an MS63 uncirculated example, while another gives approximately $1.35 for MS62 and $2.70 for MS63 examples. That means a dirty, ugly, heavily circulated 2020p should not automatically be advertised as a coin worth $21 million. Big prices reported online often involve completely different dates, famous errors, proof pieces, exceptionally high grades, or unusual varieties. For example, the well-known 2008 undated mule has a completely different story from a normal 2020p. Therefore, if your 2000 coin is simply worn and damaged from circulation, its value is likely to remain modest. If you discover a 2000 British 20p in poor condition, the first thing to do is avoid cleaning it aggressively. Do not polish it with metal cleaner, sandpaper, chemicals, or abrasive materials. Cleaning can leave permanent scratches and unnatural surfaces, making the coin less attractive to serious collectors. Instead, gently handle the coin by its edges and examine both sides under good lighting. Look carefully at the date, Queen Elizabeth II portrait, the Tudor rose, lettering, shape, and edge. If something appears dramatically different from a normal 2020p, compare it with reliable reference photographs before assuming that it is an error. If you believe you have discovered a genuine mint error, professional authentication can be useful, particularly if the coin appears to have significant market potential. Most importantly, remember that rarity must be demonstrated, not simply claimed. A damaged coin can look unusual without being valuable. The 2000 United Kingdom 20 pence coin is an interesting piece of modern British coinage, especially because of its distinctive seven-sided design, Queen Elizabeth II portrait, and Crown Tudor rose reverse. But an ugly or heavily circulated 2020p is generally not a thousands of dollars rarity. With more than 136 million pieces produced for circulation, ordinary examples are relatively plentiful. The real collector opportunity comes from exceptional condition, recognized varieties, or genuine mint errors. So, before you spend an old 2020p, take a few seconds to inspect it. Check the date, design, shape, lettering, and surfaces, and don't clean the coin. If it looks completely normal and heavily worn, its value is likely to be close to face value. But if you discover something genuinely unusual, research it carefully and compare it with documented collector and auction information. Remember, the most valuable coin is not necessarily the oldest or ugliest coin, it is the coin with the right combination of rarity, authenticity, condition, and collector demand. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more rare coin discoveries and valuable coin updates. See you in the next video.